they start the process over again.
Yeah.
It's just one of the many scams that they would run. And so every 2 or 3 weeks, they're getting 40,000, 60,000, 50,000. Hey, we're doing a podcast real quick with Colby and Matt Cox, and Colby's going to talk about when he got ripped off one time.
I figured I don't have too many scam stories, but we're here waiting to shoot a podcast today. So
right.
I got a little scam story, basically where I'll just kind of tell the story because I don't want to give away the big reveal at the end. But this was back in high school, and there was the national championship football game in New Orleans, and big Alabama fan, big football fan. So it was probably like Christmas break or something, and it was like last minute, last second decision. I was like, my brother had tickets and he was going, so I just told my buddy, I was like, we should go, like we should just drive over there, like probably like 17 years old, like we should go to New Orleans and just hang out and like go see everything.
Right.
And my dad was like, yeah, sure. You just like be careful, y'all are gonna be some kids rolling around New Orleans midnight, just be careful.
You're 17, think you know everything.
Yeah, I'm like,
nobody's gonna get over on me.
I'm like, oh, come on, man. And I'm just pumped. I'm ready. Like, okay, let's just go do it. Let's go make it happen. So within about 5-6 hours, me and my buddy decided, okay, like let's drive up. Let's go to New Orleans. We'll drive over there. So we start driving about a halfway point, Tallahassee. And my brother's going to college at Florida State. We park there the night. I go upstairs and he's like, hey, did you park in the right parking spot? I was like, oh yeah, we're good. And we wake up at like 5 a.m. the next morning, and we go down to get in the car and like make the drive to New Orleans, like a 6-7 hour drive that's left. And my car's gone. Like already starting off the trip, like the first night, like my car's gone. And I parked in guest parking, like the college parking in Tallahassee, Florida State. It's like, if you're not parked in the right spot, like they're towing you, like at every apartment complex. So I wake up like 5 a.m. and my car's towed, and I go, my older brother, bigger guy.
He didn't tell you where to park.
Well, he did. That's the thing, he did. So it was my fault.
Okay.
But he's driving me to the tow place. Like we're waiting for the tow place to open at 7. We drive to the tow place. We're about halfway there across the town. He's pissed because he has to wake up early, take me.
Right.
We're about halfway there, and then I realize like my keys. Like I need my keys for my car. They're at the apartment, and I'm like, hey, like. We got to turn around and just like, it's 7 a.m. He's yelling, cursing, turned around, go back. So like eventually we start heading to New Orleans, and we get there and meet my buddy and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm paranoid. I'm like, okay, I don't want to park somewhere where my car gets towed again. So like I just drive to my brother's hotel, and literally like almost right by Bourbon Street. It's so packed. I'm like driving my car like the next street over. And then eventually like I pulled up some house, and this guy's like, oh yeah, you want to park here? Yeah, you want to park here? Like $30. And I'm like,
you're like, oh,
I guess. Like,
everybody's so nice here.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah. Y'all know Tyrone Matthew? Y'all know Tyrone Matthew is like the biggest player on LSU because it's LSU Alabama. So it's like kind of like a local game. Like, yeah, that's my cousin. Like, y'all come over here. And I'm like, well, I'm staying here overnight. Like, is that okay? And he's like, oh, then that's $50 then. That's $50. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So eventually we park, we go find my brother and all this kind of stuff. And they got tickets to the game. And me and my buddy are just kind of planning on, hanging out or doing whatever. Go down to Bourbon Street and, see all the pregame festives. Like it's just crowded, Alabama, LSU fans, stuff like that. So my brother, he goes into the game, and the game starts, and it's 9-0 at halftime, and I'm just watching in the hotel room, and Alabama's winning, so I'm like, okay, you know what, like let's just go down to Bourbon Street, let's go to a bar and like finish it there. And I walk out the hotel, and some guy's like, hey, tickets, and it's halftime. It's already halftime. And
so he's selling them cheap.
Yeah, he's selling them cheap. That's what I'm thinking.
Of course, it's possible because
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh shoot, it's 9-0. The game's halfway over. Now he's just trying to make some money.
Right.
So I thought, and I was like, oh, let's see what he got to say. My buddy, he's just like, no, like what are you doing? Like let's just go to the bar. I'm like, no, let's see what he says. And he's like, oh, I was like, how cheap's cheap? And I can't remember exactly what he said. My buddy says, well, how much you got? And I was like, oh, I could do like $100 something to get $100 of work. And
I mean, if they say what.
Yeah, they say whatever it is. So here I am.
He's trying to salvage his investment.
Yeah. And my buddy's like, dude.
Or it appears that way.
Yeah. My buddy's like, dude, no, we're not doing this. And I'm like,
Why's your buddy concerned? Just for the money, or he just doesn't trust the guy?
I mean, he don't trust the guy. He don't care about the football game. He didn't want to spend the money. He don't want to spend the money. It's $100 for what? He's like, dude, come on. And I'm like total opposite. I'm like, this is the biggest game of the year. Like, I got to get in there. Like, here's my opportunity. Like, I'm going to make it happen. And there were red flags that were coming up, like, when I was talking to him. I was like, oh, well, let's just go to the stadium. And like, you know, I just want to make sure the ticket's real and all that kind of stuff when we get to the stadium. And he's like, oh, no, you know, something about being an authorized dealer. You can't be on campus grounds. Just some BS. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, he could have said anything. At that point, I was just like, these are my $100 national championship tickets. Like, I'm getting in with this. And, you know, I don't even know if I had $100. I think I called my dad. He's like, yeah, sure. And he probably, I don't know. I mean, who knows what I was telling him, but he was like, okay, yeah, sure. So like, I get $100, and then my buddy, like, he's like, well, I'm not just going to be rolling around New Orleans by myself.
Right.
Like, I'm going to have to buy these tickets too. And he's like, pretty sure like these tickets are fake. Like, this guy's sketchy, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, let me get your phone number. He's like, okay. So I got his phone number. I got his phone number.
For what? What's that going to do? Assuming it's the right number.
Assuming it's the right number. I didn't call him. I didn't text him. I'm like, okay, you know, I got this guy's number. Give him $100. My buddy, you know, gives him $100, and we're probably like a 10-minute walk. And now I'm like, okay, like the third quarter's got to start. Like, I got to get there. And I'm like speed walking. I'm like almost jogging to the stadium, like on a high. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I got these tickets. And my buddy, like, he's just walking, like, cause he already knows.
Just feels like
he's like, I got this freaking ticket that's like probably worth nothing. And I get all the way up in there, and I like give them my ticket, and I'm like, here you go, like, oh yeah. And they try to scan it once, they try to scan it twice, and they're like, oh yeah, you got to go downstairs, like, it's not working. And sure enough, like, I go downstairs, give it to the people, and they might have scanned it one time, and they're like, oh, how much did they get you for? And I was like, what? and
no,
I was like,
the tickets.
I was like, this is legit, and it was fake. Yeah. So I only paid like $100. I was like, oh, they got me for $100. And like, oh, well, you're lucky. Like, people paid like $900, like $1,200. I was like, well, can I keep the ticket like for a souvenir? You know, I'll hang it up on my wall. And they're like, no, like, you can't, because you know, I guess you could go resell it. But like, yeah, and then I walked back to the hotel. Like, my buddy, he didn't even
call the guy.
He didn't even scan him. And I called him, but I don't even know if I called him, to be honest. I was just so pissed. But, you know, in hindsight, I was like, there's so many red flags that were going off. I called the guy after, and then, like, who knows what number it was. It wasn't his. Some Hispanic guy. But there's so many red flags at the time. But I was just like, you know, there's no way that I'm not going to like take this opportunity for like $100. And then
I wonder how many of those tickets he sold like that day. Like, he just has to keep moving locations, especially if you're you're not from there. So I just have to move locations in the area, and then go sit at my house for 3 days. Or,
especially you got a whole bunch of
pop. Yeah. Think of it. If he sold 5 or if he sold 6 of them, that's $600.
And he probably sold them, and he probably sold them a lot more than $100, because they said at the window that is like people bought them for like $900, $1,200. Right. Especially, I mean, you got a whole bunch of Alabama fans there. But I meant like halfway, like that day, like after it started, halfway through, like that's like the best time. Like you sell them before the game, like people have a chance to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And even just as the game kind of happens, they have a chance. But halfway through the game, you should be pretty good. Plus, it's easy money, because if you're trying to sell a ticket that should be being sold for $500 or $1,000, you're going to talk to a lot of people. But if it's like, hey, I'm just trying to salvage my investment. I really got screwed on this ticket. I'm just trying to get $100. People are like, what a deal. Yeah. Like, you could sell that same ticket over and over and over and over again. Yeah. You still probably make $1,000, $2,000 in a day while the game's going on. Yeah.
As long as you have enough of the counterfeit tickets.
Yeah. And got enough kids like me that are willing to do it. So
good times.
Drag their buddies into it. And then I had to go get my car. And luckily, my car was all good, so I didn't get my car towed the second time and drove back. And
I was gonna say that the whole driving and getting your car, like, that's just like such a teenager thing to do. Like, you're excited and forget about everything. And like, my girlfriend's daughter, who never doesn't have her phone in her hand, stopped, went into like a Wawa bathroom or something, came back out. They got in the car driving. They're driving on their way here, and she's like, "Where's your phone? Where's your phone?" She starts looking around. She walked into Wawa, sat it down in the bathroom and something, and then left. She's like, "What the heck?" And she does it all the time.
Yeah.
Like every time she comes here, she'll come here and something will happen, and she has always forgotten something.
Oh yeah.
But that's you're 17, you're 15, you're whatever. You're you're not thinking. You're not thinking through. And then your buddy. I mean, you had to know. I mean,
he knew. He was so reluctant. He was like, dude, he's trying to talk me out of it. No one was talking me out of anything. Like once I had my mindset, like I'm getting this.
Even the phone number, like you couldn't have said. Not that you could do anything if you said, okay, great.
But if I called him,
yeah, you could have called him right there, and if it rang, but right then, let's say you had called him right there and it didn't ring, hit to his phone. Oh, I must have given the wrong. Right then, it's like, come on, stop. We're done. But even if it did ring. Even so, what? What are you going to do later if you did call him and it was really his number? What's he going to say? All he has to do is go, "What are you talking about? Man, you're the third guy. I had like 10 tickets. Somebody got me too, bro. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can meet you right now and give you the money back. Or no, I can't, man, because I paid the other guy. I'm sorry, bro. I feel bad." Like, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do.
He's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole story kind of reminded me of another time. Like, this was in middle school. Like a little scam or whatever people would do in middle school is like, you take your phone in with you and you'd like have in your backpack. And a PE, we all go outside, go to the gym, whatever. And some kid would, I need to go to the bathroom. The bathroom's in the locker. And they go to that bathroom and they start digging through everybody's backpack, pulling out their phones, all this kind of stuff. And funny story is like, we had... I got my phone stolen, come back and my phone's gone. I'm like, oh, okay, like just tell my dad or whatever, hey, I gotta get a new phone. And then like the next day, like he got a text from somebody that like we knew that went to, there's like, your normal school and then there's not your juvenile school, but like correction school, like where if you get in trouble, like fights, whatever, they send you there. And somehow my phone had ended up at that school and there's like somebody that we had known that goes there and is like texted, like literally I guess somehow knew it was my phone, like texted my parents like, hey, like I have Colby's phone, like ended up at the school. I just want to let you know. And then, sure enough, like my dad's like, okay, great. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll pick it up. And then, it got stolen off the bus off of him. So who knows what happened with that.
I was going to, so something like that in prison, what guys will do is they will... So this is like a scam in prison. You have your locker, right? So your whole life's in your locker.
Yeah.
You have all your food. You have your stamps. Books of stamps are like currency. Mm-hmm. So guys will have like, I've known guys that have had $800, $1,000 worth of stamps in their locker. A lot of guys will put them in different people's locker. Like, bro, can you hold $50 worth of stamps for me? So one of the things guys would do in prison is, so everybody has a lock on their locker. They would go, and your lock is always unlocked sitting on your locker. So in the morning, you're going to go out to the rec yard for...
And why is it always unlocked?
Well, it's not, if you're there, if you're in the room.
Yeah, okay.
If you get up, like me, if I walked out of my room to go down the hallway and go to the bathroom, and I'm going to be back in 5 minutes, I lock my lock.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting me. Because these guys are stealing from each other. Like in state prison, it's horrible. These guys are literally like, they're like sticking people up. It's like I know that this guy and this guy just robbed me, but what can you do? They're both 6'2", huge guys with life sentences, and you're 5'6", 5'7". You're a little guy. You got nobody to help you. Like there's nothing. Or you go tell the cops. Well, you can tell the cops. 1, you're probably still not getting your stuff back. 2, it's your word against theirs. And 3, now you're gonna have to check in because they'll kill you. Yeah. So it's horrible. That's like state prison. It's really rough. Like where Josh went. Mm-hmm. But even in federal prison, guys they're just a little smarter about it. They're a little slicker about it. And they'll rip you off. Like they'll just kind of hang out and wait for you to leave. And they know he is always leaving his locker unlocked. Then they'll sneak in and have a lookout, and the guy will rob you, go in and grab a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I never really had anything. I kept virtually nothing. But some guys, they make their whole life about being in prison. And they're gambling. They've got hundreds of dollars worth of stamps, and people know about it. So here's what guys would do. like guys who have been in prison probably are already like, yeah, I know exactly what he's going to say.
Yeah.
But to me, the first time I heard it, I thought that's really ingenious. So all the locks look the same. So what they would do is the guy, so you're in your cell one morning and you're going to go to the rec yard for 5 or 6 hours. Well, what a guy would do is he'd go in and be talking to you somehow. And when you turned around or he and another guy would come in, they just talk to you. Maybe some guy you knew or something.
Yeah.
While you're not looking and you're talking, they take their lock and place it in place of your lock. Because what's going to happen, and so what happens is, and then they walk out. So then 10 minutes later, you're leaving to go to the rec yard. You turn around, you grab what you think is your lock, and you lock your locker with it, and you leave. So then that guy, when you're gone, him or his buddy, who most of the units have to be emptied out during certain periods of time, but there are orderlies and some people who are allowed to stay in the units. They have to clean. Or maybe you have like a bed pass where you're sick, or you have a bad back and you don't have to go. You can actually lay in your bunk during the day.
Yeah.
So what happens is then everybody leaves. So now the guys that were in your room with you, they leave with you. So now I've seen you the whole time. You were with me. So I'm not even thinking about you. Well, one of the orderlies will then go into the room. He knows the combination. He does the combination, unlocks the lock, takes everything he wants out of your, like, get your stamps, they'll get your potato chips, they'll get all your soups, they'll get everything they want. Take as much, they'll find your radio, your extra headphones, your everything. They just completely rip you off. Then they close the locker back up and they lock it back with your lock.
Yeah.
So when you come in 3 hours later, you go to unlock your lock, it unlocks. It's fine. You open it up, you go grab a little here, maybe you go, where are my soups? I thought I had, where's my chips? What the hell's going on? You start to look through and you're like, where are my stamps? And then you realize, oh my God, how did that happen? Like, I have a lock. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Some guys will do this too. Typically, so you just got robbed and you have no clue. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't think that your buddy or this other guy that you've known came and talked to you for 2 minutes with his buddy about something. You don't think, like, they had time I was right here. And it was my lock. I unlocked it. So you're like, because even if you know the scam, you're still thinking, well, they could have. Like, you just don't know. Yeah. What are you going to do? You're going to go accuse them? They're going to be like, bro, what are you talking about? I came in to talk to you about the volleyball game. Like, yeah, that's what I talked to you about. Like, how many other people talked to you before you left for the rec yard today? Did you accuse everybody?
Yeah.
You don't know who talked. So, or who did it. What another thing guys will do is this. They'll come in when a guy first comes on the compound. And a lot of guys, so if you're like a white guy, typically you get there, and if you're like a solid white guy, the other white guys will come to you and be like, because you just got off a bus. You have nothing. And one of the things you don't want to do is like, let's say you've been on a bus all day. You want to take a shower, but you don't want to go in the shower without shower slides. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go in there and stand in the fungus, and I'm going to get some athlete's foot, or God knows what I'll get in there. So you want to have shower slides. And you want certain things you just want, you need to have, because when you get off the bus, you're wearing just your bus clothes for 2 or 3 days. Then you get your regular stuff. Like, you may not be able to go to commissary for a week. If you have money on your books, your money may not be placed on your books for weeks. You know, or even if you have property, you may not get your property from another prison for weeks. Typically what happens is the other white guys, or if you're Hispanic guys, you know who's great about this is Spanish. Like the Mexicans will come to you immediately. They'll come to you with a care package. So guys will come to you and say, hey, man, what's going on? I know you just got here. I got a pair of shower slides for you from commissary. So either buy new ones or just clean these up and give them back to me. Yeah. Okay, here's a new toothbrush. If you want it, that's fine. You can use the one that they're going to give you, which is about this tall, which is crap. Yeah. And crappy, you know, like everything's crap. So it's like, look, here's all your stuff. And by the way, I know you got your locker, but you don't have a lock. So I got to go ahead and you can use my lock for now, or this lock, it's, you know, and they'll rewrap it in a package and like they just bought it. Here's the lock. I always have that. So, you know, just you can keep that one, or you can buy one on commissary, you know, or you can just give me commissary for whatever you want to do, you know, but So sure, now the guy's got your lock. So sure enough, that's what happens. So you think, wow, what a good guy.
Yeah.
And he brought me all this stuff. He gave me a bunch of soups. He gave me this. He gave me that. What a nice guy. And then, of course, you then go to commissary. You're still waiting for your stuff to come. And then, boom, they rip you off as soon as you go out to the rec yard. Or maybe you even buy him commissary. In worst cases, you buy him commissary for the lock. He's like, hey, what do you want for this lock? I'm going to keep it. Because you don't have a clue. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have thought this whole thing was set up so that I would keep the lock.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even think that he would do this whole thing so that he would have my locker combination so that in 6 months from now, he could rob me. And guys will do that. So some guys will be like, you know what? Hey, you know what? You can just keep that lock. Like, it was my old Sully's. He's gone. Don't worry about it. You know what? Just don't even worry about it. Just keep it. Oh, okay, cool, man. And then you keep it. And 2 months later, everything you have gets ripped off. Because why? Well, because I've always had your locker combination. So, these guys people are always getting, there's so many scams. Look, you'll never get rid of scams.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a scam. There's always going to be some guy who's thinking that along those lines.
Yeah.
Now look at Boziak. Boziak was making, what was he making? Fake little, this was when he was a little kid. He was making fake, John Boziak, this guy right here. Bent. I wrote a book called Bent about this guy, John Boziak. Anyway, when he was a kid, of course, he was broke. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He was broke. And he was growing up kind of like on the beach in Miami. He actually used to make counterfeit like $5 gift certificates to like Burger King and McDonald's. And he said, you would go in there. He's like, they wouldn't scan.
Yeah.
He said they'd try and scan them once, twice, and then they'd have to call the manager. And the guy would look at him and be like, all right, just give him the food. Like, they just give him the food. Like, what do I care? It's $4. It's $5 or whatever it is. Just give them the thing and, hey, it's not scanning, but I'm going to give you the food. Like, even if they think it's a scam, they're still going to give you the food.
Yeah.
And if not, then they throw it in there. What do they care? It's a $5 gift certificate. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
So, and if it gets excessive, like which he's told me, he said, which at some points it got excessive where they were like, yeah, this is, unless it scans, I can't use them. You're going to have to write a letter to sorry, done.
Yeah.
Get out. But most of the time, tickets, no. They can't let you just go inside and sit in somebody else's seat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially halfway through. And they said the only difference between that ticket was like if you had like an LED light and shined it on it,
right,
it was like a blue streak, like a blue like holographic streak. But yeah, there was a couple other like talking about the cell phone scams. I remember one time like me and my buddy playing basketball. This was probably high school. Playing basketball, now if we went back now, like we don't take our phones, our wallets in there. But like, you put your phone and your wallet on the bench, you play basketball for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like you got a gym full of 50 people, 60 people walking through. Like you go back to your normal like sandals, shoes, whatever you brought in there, and your phone's gone. And my buddy one time, his phone was gone, stolen, and then sure enough, his dad got a call like, "Hey, my son just bought this phone."
Right.
For $60, if you want to meet me all the way across town, like I just realized
for $60.
I just realized it was stolen. So $60. It's like at that point, it's just like, okay, here's $60.
I'll give you $60. Yeah. I would listen. If my phone ended up missing, I would rather be extorted for the $60 and have to go through the process of getting another phone. Like $60 is worth it.
Yeah,
that's totally worth it. You got me. Here's
process.
$60.
Yeah.
No, he really did find it, man. I don't care if you stole it. You go look me in the face and say, I stole your phone. I want $100 to give it back. Here's $100.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I just need my phone back. There's too much stuff in my phone.
Yeah.
My life is like, would be straight chaos if you got a hold of my phone.
Yeah. So much information in there. The only other like scam related story I have, is like me and my buddies, we used to play like this video game, like on the computer, and like a multiplayer game where you like collect money and all this kind of stuff and try to like get rich. And like we had a couple, that was the funnest thing about playing the game, was like getting rich and like pulling scams on people, which is like
in the video
game. And it's just like, it's kids. It's like, we're like 10, 12 years old. And like, there's a couple different things we would do. Like, obviously like, we'd be working together, like, me and him would be working together, would find somebody and would just, do a little deal or something and like pretty much just like rip this guy off. But like the best one that we kind of stumbled upon, someone tried to pull it on us, it's like a phishing site. that makes it look like the login for the actual website. So like someone came to us like, hey, like click on this thing and you'll get free money in the game. You'll get free money in the game. And you click on this link that they send you, and it pops up on your thing. It says, oops, you've been signed out. And they think they've been signed out of the game by clicking on the link. And really it's just like a fake website that has the same background, same login thing. So they're like, oh, log back in. And they log in. You
just gave them all your information.
And it just sends it to a notepad. And we're like 12 years old. We don't know how to build this like website, but somebody had done it. And then they just said like, hey, I'll show you how to do it. Like all you need to do is type in the website name and then type in like -notepad, and it'll pull up all the username and passwords that everybody's tried to log in with. And it's just like a long list. And we would just like, go on these people's things, and then we would go log into their account, take all their stuff, like put it on our account, and then we would then message all their friends like within the game that they probably talk to every day that they know and trust. And I'm like, hey, like check out this website. Like I just did this, and it's coming from someone they trust.
Right.
They all go to the website, and it's just like a cycle over and over again. And we just
You're a horrible person.
Yeah. It was, yeah. And
there are little kids all over America.
It was, yeah.
Just they've been scammed and horrible.
Oh, yeah. It was, yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. And it was like real. I mean, you pay real money for that stuff to start off. And then, yeah.
And they'll be in the comments. People will be like, I got scammed like that. You're a scumbag.
There was like little casinos. You could like in the game, there was like little casinos, and like you would basically roll dice. Some people would pay you money and all types of stuff. And then like if you lose, like if you wanted to, you could just like run. It was just those were my scam days. The only thing I really have, but yeah, that was honestly the funnest part of the game. But yeah, looking back on it, probably shouldn't have done that.
How old were you?
Oh, I was like,
what year was this?
I was like middle school, so 12.
I was gonna say like I was in prison.
Yeah,
like this whole situation, I was in prison.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I was playing back when Halo 2 came out.
Yeah.
That's like in 2002 or something like that. I was playing 2000, and I think 2004. Like they came out with like Halo 2. It was like a huge thing.
Yeah,
man. I mean the whole time I was locked up, games went from that level to just through the roof, where you're just playing people all over the country. You're trading stuff. You're building city. Like this, like the whole gaming community just turned into an entirely different beast while I was gone.
Oh yeah,
so I couldn't even.
It's crazy.
Comprehend.
Kids nowadays, what they do, they still do scam. Like kids are running scams on like Xbox, like Fortnite. You know what that is? Yeah. So like, you have in-game currency like V-Bucks or like coins or whatever. And what these kids will do is they'll probably go on like a Reddit page or whatever and say like, I have this rare thing that I want to give away, or I can get you anything you need in the game. Like if you want special gun, special whatever, like I can get it for you. And they get on these like voice chats with people, and they just, if it's another like 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid, like, hey, oh yeah. Well, I know like my dad knows how to do this, or I know how to do this, where I can like get into the system and buy you pretty much anything you need. And then it's just like, we'll just exchange passwords and stuff like that.
Right.
And the only reason I know about it is there's like YouTube channels like specifically for people that like, we're going to call this guy and we're going to get him on the phone, just like mess with him.
Right.
And like, it's like these guys like messing with like 10-year-old kids that are trying to scam them. Like, oh, so what do I need to do? It's like, oh, you just need to do this. You need to do this. And the kid's just like kind of going on. And then at the end, he's like, dude, like, you think I'm going to do that? Like, I'm not an idiot. And it's just.
Well, you'd be shocked how many people I'm sure do.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's always there's always some Colby walking around going, what?
Yeah.
Tickets?
Yeah.
For $100?
I just got tickets from him. Yeah. There's just a lot of dumb people, I guess, that fall for the stupidest things. Like,
I mean, I think people are just trusting. And I think because, it's like just like a lot of scams, people will tell you, like let's say a Ponzi scheme or a phone scam. People are always like, oh, well, you're an idiot, or you have to be like an old person who's not control their faculties, or somebody who's not that smart. But the truth is that most people that get scammed are, have college educations. Like they're not stupid. Like they're regular people that they got scammed, because typically if the scam's set up right, then it sounds plausible.
Yeah.
Like if that was what was really happening, like, so I'm going to invest in, I'm going to give you money. You're going to buy properties. You're going to renovate them and sell them. Like that. Well, that's a real thing. And then this is a pool of money that does this. Yeah. And overall, we can show where we make on average 40% a year or 35%. And you're like, that's within reason. And I know my buddy John does that. And so people start to kind of go, that makes sense. And you're right. If all of this was happening, that does make sense. But that's not what's happening. What's really happening is you're sending me your money and I'm just spending it on my own stuff. And the documents that you're asking for to prove that the money's growing, I can provide you. And I can provide you other people that are also investing in the scam. But they also think they're putting money into a pool that's buying, real estate and renovating it and buying commercial properties and renting it out and doing all these things. But and you can check your account. You can see where your money's growing. And then even if you came to me and said, "Listen, Matt, I know I've made 25,000. I put in 100. I made 125, or I made 25. So I have 125. I need my 125 back. I feel uncomfortable. I need the money. No problem. I give it to you."
Yeah.
So what happens? 2 months later, you give me the money back, but you also talk to 4 of your buddies. Bro, it's legit. The other day he cut me a check for 125. Or for 30, I needed 30 grand. He gave me 30 grand. Like, I mean, trust me, it's legit. I've been investing with this guy for a year. The truth is your 100,000 is gone. And the money I just gave you came from somebody else. And I'm really just maintaining the scam at this point. And it's growing. And you just got me 3 more people. And so the scam gets bigger and bigger. And you think, well, yeah, I'm investing in real estate. No, you're not. It's a Ponzi scheme. You're an educated person. You're getting receipts. Think about all the people that Madoff ripped off for decades. He's not investing that money, and you're getting a monthly report. And people came to him, they put in $500,000, and then they even took out, let's say, $1 million over the course of 10 years. They took out more than what they ever put in. So of course, you're also telling all your buddies where you invest your money. Yeah. So is it worth it for Madoff to pay you, for you to put in $500,000? And over the next 10 years, Madoff pays you back $1 million. Is it worth it to Madoff to do that?
Bringing in probably $5 million.
You probably brought in $4 or $5 million extra, additional funds. So, if you could maintain your scam, it's great. And if it makes sense, it's great. But is the money really going to buy these stocks? Yeah. It's rough. So it's not always just young kids or old people or somebody who's just stupid. It's just sometimes these guys are just that slick. Yeah. And how are you going to beat that guy? Yeah.
There's a couple, while you're talking, there's more scams that pop up in my head that I've noticed. Like, obviously, if you're watching YouTube, you probably see the YouTube scams, like the bigger guys like Graham Stephan and all them. Like, if you go into their comment section, there's people trying to pose as them. And then also there's
there was a guy that was posing as me at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And here somebody had done a little thumbnail of my thumbnail. Yeah. It only happened a few times, and I immediately went and put, scam. Happened over the course of maybe a week. Mm-hmm. And I kept putting, scam. And then eventually it went away. Yeah. But I know what you're about to talk about.
Yeah. And then they'll have people comment, 2 normal people that, aren't associated. And it looks like they're having a genuine conversation. Like, oh, I made this much money. Like, oh, how'd you do that? And then everyone's reading the comments and they're like, oh, they text this guy. And they've made videos about confronting scammers like that. Yeah. One scam that I don't know how anybody would fall for is I get these random spam emails like, hi, I have 28 million in the bank for you, from Nigeria.
Yeah, the Nigerian prince scam.
Yeah.
It's a 409 scam. I think they call it a 409 scam. And 409 is the code, the fraud code for Nigeria. Yeah. And that's what I think it's called a 409.
And it's always worded hello, my friend. Okay, obviously this isn't an American speaking guy, but there's a couple.
They're not bad. Yeah. Some of the problem is most of those scam guys are the letters are the that they send you, it's such broken English.
Yeah. That's the bigger thing. But I've had some one that's almost, it's raised my eye and had to think about it for a few minutes. Was I would get an email from
it's 419 fraud scam. It's a 419 Nigerian letter or a 419 fraud scam. Yeah.
Sorry. Must be getting someone from it. I mean,
they've been doing it for it used to be letters. Yeah. You understand, before the internet, they were just mailing letters. Yeah. And then it became phone. And of course it was followed by phone calls. Then it was emails. Mm-hmm. but it just keeps growing and growing. But yeah. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And then like I was saying the one email that almost got me, or made me at least think about it, was like I got an email from like my pastor at my church, and it just comes in as his name. I'm like, okay, I know this guy. Like, why is he emailing me?
Right.
And it's like, hey, like I want to talk to you about something. Like, but I'm going into a meeting. Don't call me. Just email me, because they don't want me to call his real phone number. And then you go click on their, and you could just create like a Gmail account or whatever, and you click on their Gmail. I'm like that's not associated with like the website that he's from or whatever. And then, but like that, and then trying to sell stuff on eBay, people will message me, and like one of the things that I've noticed is like urgency. They kind of want something urgency, or like, hey, like I'm buying this for my daughter in Missouri, but I'm in whatever. Like, can you send this money or whatever? And then or can you send me your PayPal email or something like that? Because I don't really know how eBay works. I was just trying to sell something. Like, can you send me your PayPal email? And I'm like, okay. And then I would receive email with like a fake letterhead from eBay saying like your purchase has gone through. And I'll go click on like the actual email address, and it's just like, it's not from eBay. It's from some other dude that's just trying to like rip me off. So that's a couple ones. And there was one other scam that was running through my head that I had forgot about. What were we just talking about? The Nigerian scam?
Nigerian one where it's a Nigerian prince, or it's always the Nigerian one is not that bad. It's not that bad. It's bad because at some point you've got to convince somebody to give you money. The big thing, and it never makes sense, but I guess if you don't know enough about how the banking system works, or just in general how scams work, I could see people fall for it. And they fall for it all the time. Another one is when these guys call up and they say, it starts as your social security number has been suspended. Yeah. You've seen that one. Mm-hmm. Well, there's the other version of that is that where the IRS contacts you and they say that you owe money. You owe like $3,500. Yeah. And basically they're going to put a warrant out for your arrest and all this other stuff. And then eventually they end up getting you, they stay on the phone with you, and they'll get someone to actually like go to their bank, pull out cash, and then go buy like a gift card. Mm-hmm. And then give them the information. Like, totally not how the IRS works. Like, everything about it is wrong. But for some reason, periodically, they must, if you call 100 people a day, you're going to get somebody. You only have to get one person a day, and you end up making $3,000 or $4,000, or maybe it's $1,500. Maybe you say, I don't have that much money. And you argue with the guy, and the guy's like, well, we'll let you make a payment. You have to pay us $1,200. Right now, that's the minimum. And so the guy goes and they pay $1,200 or whatever. Maybe it's $6,000. So they get you for whatever they can get you for. But the whole process doesn't make sense. Like the entire thing doesn't make sense. So when would the IRS ask me to go to like Best Buy or go to Walmart and buy a gift card? Yeah. That's just not going to happen. That's not how it works. Or go get this prepaid debit, Visa debit here. And it's like, what? Yeah. Like, but people fall for it. Yeah. I've been getting calls recently, like over the last month, like, I don't bank with Fifth Third Bank, but I've got like 2 calls, like 2 days in a row, like, hey, this is so-and-so with Fifth Third Bank. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like saying they just start talking about me wanting to confirm some type of information. And I'm like, listen, like, I don't even bank with Fifth Third Bank. And then it's just like, and then they just like don't say anything. And there's like I also been getting, the extended car warranty calls and stuff like that. We've been trying to get in touch with you. Yeah. There's Graham Stephan on their podcast, they had a guy come on and was like, I don't really know what lemon law is, but he's a lemon law lawyer. Yeah, lemon law is when your vehicle, when you have the same issue with your vehicle multiple times in the first year of purchase. Yeah, it only applies to new vehicles. Yeah. So let's say your computer chip goes out on your new Ford Bronco or whatever. I don't even know if they make Broncos. Whatever. On your new Ford, F-150, the computer chip goes out the first 2 months later after you buy it. Yeah. And then you replace it. Okay, fine. And then a month later, it goes out again. And then they replace it again. 2 months later, it goes out again. You can go back into the dealership and say, I want a new vehicle. Period. I want a whole new vehicle. Done. Yeah. Because there's an issue. Oh, no, it's just right. And I'm not going to continue to have this problem in the first year. And so what everybody pays into what's called the lemon law, they pay it's like whatever, $10, $12, whatever goes towards this fund to help fix that problem. So anyway, that's the lemon law. So he's a lemon law specialist.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still a year now. Maybe it's expanded.
I don't know.
I'm sure he would know.
He's really wealthy, but like one of his like parts of his business was like going after the people that keep calling for your extended car warranty. Like if you keep getting called by the same person and you like ask them not to call or put them on the do not call list,
right?
There's like a couple things, I don't know really what it was, but there's like a couple things that you could do that like if they called back and like you had to record a conversation that like you could send to this guy and they would get you like $1,500, $1,200.
Right.
It has to be like multiple times and the same people, but yeah, and that's a I
actually know a guy that kind of runs robocall. He runs the robocall, like a robocall types of centers.
Yeah.
Like he's, involved in like every time I talk to him about it, he's like, I really don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do exactly?
Yeah, you gotta get it. We gotta get him on here.
When he finally told me, he's like, okay, well here's what I do. It's like one of the things he does, and he told me, and he goes, I do this, and I go, you son of a bitch, and he goes, oh man, come on. I said, you scumbag. He goes, I know. So funny though when he told me, he did not want to say what he was doing.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if this was like a scam or not, but I feel like this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I would get calls about like my roof on my house, and they'd be wanting to know. I think they're trying to get my address and trying to get like, well, when will you be home? When will you not be home? To like
rob you or something?
I don't know. That's I don't know if it was
rob. Listen, those types of roofing scams are like prevalent, like especially in Florida.
Yeah.
Like there are guys that did you ever? There was a book like they don't do it in the movie. Mm-hmm. There was a story called Matchstick Men. It was a book, and it's about these two kind of grifters.
Yeah. And
they have a ton of scams. The movie actually did a really good job of I actually reviewed it. It's one of the movie reviews on the channel.
Okay.
But one of the things in the book they do is they go in. What they would do is they would go in and they were giving free roof inspections. So I mean, like if you're a homeowner, of course you're gonna do a free home free. So they would like pull up and then they have a roofing. They have a truck and they have a roofing thing. They pull up and they actually get on your thing. Ocala, Florida. I don't know. That's a scam. I mean, we're actually. I'm not paying attention to my phone because I'm addicted, which people say. I'm paying attention to it because we're waiting for this guy to show up.
Yeah.
So anyway, they would go up on the roof and they would actually punch holes in the roof, and then they would keep a log of all the places that they would go to. Let's say there's 30 or 40 places in a general area. And then they would kick back and they'd come back and they'd be like, look, honestly, you're probably going to get an extra 2 years out of your roof. And they would be like, it's actually not bad. Let's say we have a bad rain. Or they'd say, honestly, it's not great. You're probably within it could go any day. It could be 6 months, could be, you might go 2 years, whatever. They'd say, nobody, oh, okay, well, thanks so much. Sure, no problem. They give them their business card, whatever. And they'd say, we have a roofing special, and they'd get their information, no problem, and they'd leave. And let's say it's Florida, wherever they were, then they would wait 3 weeks. If they were constantly doing this, then 3 weeks later, it rains. And people call them, hey, you were right, not realizing this is the first time it's rained.
Yeah.
And they go, you're right, my roof is leaking, it's bad, can you come out? Sure, no problem. So now you called me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you called me. Like it's different if I call and knock on your door and say, hey, I want to fix your roof. Or if I show up and you suddenly have a problem. This is 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Now you're calling me saying, look, I got an issue. You then show up and you say, look, a new roof's $3,500. And they would be like, but I don't have $3,500. Oh my gosh. And they go, all right, well, look, here's what we can do. Like, we can put you on a finance plan, but we need to get you fixed right now. I know it's raining in your house. I know you got leaks. I feel bad. You're going to have to give me up front a third. You have to give me 1/3. And then the other guy would argue, no, you know damn well that Jimmy, the owner, whatever, Jimmy said he never takes less than half. It'll be fine, Paul, relax. It'll be fine. And the guy gives them, it's $3,600 for a new roof, and you give me $1,200. So we'll be back here with the stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. You do that. You sign the paperwork, everything. But he just drives to the next house that's called him. Mm-hmm. He gets a couple thousand from them. Goes to the next house. Maybe they give him the whole thing, $3,600, $4,200, whatever. He goes to the next house. They do that for the next 2 days. They'll make $40,000, $50,000. And they're never going back to your house.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have their real phone. Like, it's a scam. It was always a scam. They throw away they throw away their drop phone. They pull the rubber magnets off of their Ford F-150, you know, and maybe they even say, hey, we have the shingles right now. We can patch it for this much. And they have shingles, and they throw the shingles in the front yard and say, we're going to go pick up this and we'll be back. You know, so you're like, oh, they even left shingles. They even left, yeah, well, we're actually taking down the scam right now. Like, we're getting everything off the truck. We're getting all the magnets. Like, as we're throwing, people are like, oh, of course I'm going to give him the money. He's already got the shingles. He's doing this. He's doing that. He threw buckets there. Like, you could take the buckets and just fill it up with sand and throw, oh, yeah, this is tar. This is, like, none of that stuff costs anything.
Yeah.
You could go buy used shingles or shingles that, you know, are like discarded that nobody, like, they don't know. You're some homeowner. He doesn't know. So they're just doing this, and they just go in 2 days, they've got a ton of money. And what do? They go to another area, they put the magnets back on, and they start knocking on doors. Hey, we're giving free roof inspections. We're replacing a roof down the street. We're doing free. They start the process over again.
Yeah.
It's just one of the many scams that they would run. And so every 2 or 3 weeks, they're getting $40,000, $60,000, $50,000. And how many homeowners might pay them the whole thing?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I mean, there's people who are horrible, especially in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's such derelicts in Florida.
Oh, man. Yeah. This is not really a scam, but when I finished college, or when I was coming to the end of my college, I had to do an international internship, and had to be, because my major was international business. And I either had to do like 6 hours or like 12 hours of foreign language, which was like 4 classes, in like my last semester, or I could do like an internship abroad. So one of the guys that was on the football team before I was at college was from Australia and ran like a business basically where they convert the steering from the right side to the left side, or from the left side to the right side for Australia, because they drive on the right side of the road. And there's basically a conversion shop. And like when I went out there, they were doing some like, it's just funny to hear like how they started the business. Like, you know, him and his buddy, his business partner, they were doing it out of somebody else's shop. And like the first car that they flipped, or the first car that they converted, you know, somehow they found a customer online, and they'd be like, oh yeah, they brought them into somebody else's shop, and like, yeah, this is our shop, like this is where we do everything, like this is where we do it, like probably after hours or somehow. And then I remember when we got there, then eventually they got the ball rolling, and like they find clients, and these clients in Australia buy these big American trucks like Dodge Ram, all that kind of stuff, because the Australian dream is to get a camper, a caravan, or whatever, and just drive around the country. So like that's what it is. And they sell these trucks for, over there it's like $100,000 to $150,000 in Australian dollars. And they charge like 20 to 40 grand for like a conversion.
You told me this before.
Yeah, this is I don't know what all the details I went into, but like I remember like the first day I got there, and people were telling me about this guy. So I'm a pretty like, I would say like straight and narrow kind of guy. Like I'm not going to be doing anything crazy. And my buddies in college were telling me like, dude, like you're going over there with this guy. This guy is insane. Like when y'all go over there, like y'all might have like strippers and hookers. And I'm like, but that ain't for me. Like I don't really want any part of that. Be like, dude, this guy's crazy, man. When he was here, like he already had money when he went to college in Australia from another business. And he's like, when this guy, he was crazy. Like and I'm like, okay, like I'm going over there for an internship. Like actually, before I even went over there, I just reached out to him on Facebook, and I was like, hey man, like I need a 6-week internship at least. And he's like, if you want, dude, I'll just sign all the papers and say you came and you never came. And so that's the guy. That's the type of guy this is. I mean, he's awesome. He's cool. And I was just like, nah, like I'm doing it. I want to come. I want to come, and I just want to do it. Yeah. And he's like, all right. So me and my buddy that actually knew him, because I never knew him. I just hear stories of him from like the older guys on the football team. So me and my buddy who actually knew him, like, you know, we got tickets, all that kind of stuff. Talked to him on the phone, and he was just like, yeah, make sure you bring a business suit. Like, we're going to be doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay. He's like, the only thing he asked for me was for his old football jersey from like 4 or 5 years ago. So I talked to the coach, got his old football jersey, brought it in. Like, never met this guy before. Right. And we get there, pulls up in like a nice big truck, and we go to the shop the first day. And he's like, the very first day, he's like, they're like doing something with the cars, like they're not up to specifications, like Australian specifications, and they got like government officials or people coming in to check out these trucks, and they're like, the shops, like all these shop guys are like scrambling to get this truck like up to spec. They're like, oh yeah, like, you know, they call it in Australia, they call it like dodgy. You know, we're doing dodgy stuff. Right. And like one of the things that we're doing is you have to have like a license plate for each vehicle that you're driving around. And we would freaking, they photocopied the license plate and just like, we just like stuck it to a piece of board or whatever, because it's like on a strap, and you just like, while you're driving with a car around town. And we just like made these like fake license plates so they didn't have to pay like all these extra thousands of dollars to like haul these cars around. Cause this was probably in the early days, like of their business. And, some of the stuff that they're doing now, like now they're probably doing 2 cars a week now. Now they have like multiple warehouses, like big warehouses, just like Dodge Rams, trucks. Now they're doing like Camaros, because it's like a foreign car over there. And some of the crazy stuff, like luckily when we showed up, no strippers, no hookers, nothing crazy like that. Right. So it was like, it was pretty low key, but they did have a party one night at the shop. And like I don't even really drink that much. Like you know, special occasions I will, but like at that point I had like never really drank. And I was like 21, but it's just like wasn't my thing. And they're having a shop party, I was just hanging out, and in the back office, like some of these guys were like doing coke. Right. And this dude come up to me, this Aussie guy, and he's like, dude, because Aussie, they love to party, like drink a party. And this dude's like, bro, like, come on, like you gotta try it. And I'm like standing there, I'm like, dude, like, look, I'm not even drinking like alcohol. Like, you think I'm gonna go there and do a line of coke? And he's like, bro, like, listen, I wouldn't tell you to do anything that I wouldn't do. And I'm like, that doesn't help. That doesn't change anything. Yeah, like I'm good. But yeah, that was, they're doing a couple of dodgy things here and there, but now I think they're legit and running. They're doing like deals. They have like government officials in there all the time now, like for like press and stuff. It was interesting, like to see them run the business. And that's one of the things that guy told me when I was over there is kind of stuck with me. And there's like, you know, throughout your life, I feel like there's people that say things to you that they might not know if that word's gonna stick with you, but some things that like these guys, people have said to me over the years, there's like probably like 5 or 6 like quotes or things that people have said that's always stuck with me. And something that he said, like I was just about to go into like business, start working, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna go work at this company and I'm just gonna like try to climb the ladder. And he was just like, I don't know, man. Like, he's like, you know, I would think about maybe, I don't know if he said doing something you enjoy or like, you know, don't rush into like the corporate whatever. Because I know people who are high up in the corporate world or whatever, they're 35, 40 and they're miserable. And like, they just like, you know, pissed away like their young years or not doing something they love or enjoy. And, you know, I kind of feel some of that. So I'm, you know, it took me 5 or 6 years of like, yeah, maybe he was right. Let me try something else. But, yeah, seeing how he ran his business, I'm trying to think. He did do another. He had another thing that just passed my mind that he was doing over there. Oh yeah. They had straw buyers. This is what I was trying to get into originally, because one of the things is like you can't just go to a dealership and buy like a brand new truck and just import it. Like, hey, I'm gonna buy this truck and export it to Australia. Right. So they had like, I don't know if this is how they still do it or not, but they had like a person that like would literally buy their cars and like export them. Maybe say, I'm not going to purchase to export it, but whatever they do, they would export it out. And like in the beginning, like after I got back from that internship, I was like, well, maybe I could do that for him or somebody. And then there was people in like Asia, they would export like Mercedes and things like that to these different countries over in Asia, where these cars would sell for like 400,000, 500,000, because they were like luxury cars according to them. Right. And you didn't have to convert the steering or anything like that. And then people started like cracking down on like car exporters and stuff like that. So that was something that I was kind of looking into before I started working. I was like, oh, maybe I could start doing this, but never did. I never really got into many of the details of it all. All right. But yeah, it's an interesting story. He was an interesting guy to see. I mean, and then multiple businesses from that one business. But yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, we good?
I think we're good. I think we're good.
Sweet.
All right. So that's it. So, hey, thanks for checking out the channel and our interview, and our guy should be here anytime now. And so, yeah, thanks for checking out the channel. And if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications, share the video, and leave a comment for the algorithm. And I appreciate it. See ya.